is that people have been looting. You've seen them right here on Newzroom Afrika, almost as if they don't have a care in the world. But they're being caught on TV camera. They're being caught on Twitter as well, stealing appliances, stealing a fridge. You've watched it all happen literally on TV. Osborne Mulatudi is the Managing Director for Employment and Labour Law Specialist at Mulatudi Attorneys. Osborne, good afternoon to you. If you're an employer and you see one of your workers stealing something, are you actually able to take action against them?
Yes, good afternoon, Stephen, and thank you once again for having me on your show. Yes, an employer can take some steps against employees that it sees engaging in acts of misconduct, which one can relate to the current looting and stealing from various places across the country. And there are certain requirements that the employer will have to demonstrate, even if that act of misconduct took place outside of the workplace, where the employee is normally based, or outside of the working hours. And those requirements relate to trust relationship as well as relevance to the workplace. So to answer your question, yes, the employer will be entitled to take a disciplinary action against such employees identified on national TV or on social media.
But this would be someone who's not convicted, not even formally charged, not even arrested by the police. I mean, doesn't that make it a bit difficult? I can just imagine the case law that's going to come out of this, Osborne.
Indeed. In fact, already there is case law that an employer is indeed entitled to take disciplinary action for misconduct that occurs outside of the workplace or even outside of working hours. And as long as the employer can demonstrate those requirements. I mean, take, for instance, the common example is criminal activities. Which employer would want to be settled with an employee who engages in criminal activity? So in that instance, the employer will be entitled to do something about it, particularly from the perspective of trust relationship as well as relevance to the workplace. Those are the key requirements. But it won't be something that the employer can do overnight. There is a process that that employer will have to follow. And this may include a shortened process of requiring the employee to make representations to the employer as to why he or she should not have his employment terminated.
There might be some people who see their boss stealing from a shop. What do you do then?
That is likely to happen as well. I mean, very recently, there is social media doing rounds that a CEO of a company was also seen looting in inverted commas. And of course, that kind of misconduct will have to be reported to the company, and in particular for the board to do something about it. So it will be everyone to be treated the same, whether you are a CEO or a normal employee. But as long as the employer can identify that employee in question, or the CEO, or even a board member for that matter, action will become necessary in order to maintain your image as an employer. The other aspect, of course, is the trauma that may be needed for those employees who may not be able to go to a workplace as a result of their workplaces having been looted or ransacked or banned. And again, employers will be expected to show some sympathy by arranging counseling and also not terminating their salaries while they're looking at other measures to restore their workplaces.
If you fire one person for stealing from a shop, would you have to fire everyone who is seen stealing from a shop?
Yes, an employer may be entitled to dismiss a number of employees instantly if it can demonstrate that its aim was to protect lives and property, especially if it is its own workplace that is being attacked. But this will normally happen during a strike, be it protected or unprotected strike. So yes, the employer can also effect a summary dismissal to a group of employees that it can identify attacking its workplace.
I mean, there's so many different things that are going to come out of this, and I do wonder how people are actually going to deal with it. I do also wonder if some of the people who've done the looting live in areas where they literally walk to the shop that they looted, which means the chances of them walking back into the shop are actually pretty high. They're going to go and buy something. If I were a store owner, I'd be going through my CCTV footage and investing in visual and facial recognition technology. You might be able to arrest people as they come back into your shop.
Indeed, and one of the considerations for that employer will be to report those that it can identify through its surveillance cameras to the law enforcement agencies. But if the identification directs it to its own employees, then the employer will similarly be entitled to take disciplinary action.
Osborne, really do appreciate the time. Thank you. Osborne Molatodi, Employment and Labour Law Specialist at Molatodi Attorneys.